Hi, Enrique. This
Hello,
moment
Peter. Yeah.
when the counter is going down, I really just, I just like really just build the stress level for me, right?
For me, it's pretty stressing too because I always think, fuck, I forgot about play this music or add this photo or.
No worries, no worries. Today is a big
Well,
day for us, isn't it?
yeah, first double interviews. We're gonna be like this famous broadcaster, no, interviewing one person together. So, welcome here, Peter. We're gonna do our first interview in English. For that, we bring a very special guest. She's Spanish, but we're gonna do it in English because people in Spain can talk few languages. So, she's an architect, and let's welcome, clap everyone here, Ane.
Well,
Yay. Hello,
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 Ane.
Enrique here. Nice to be
Thank,
here.
Thank you so much for accepting the call and accepting to come with us and collaborate on this beautiful BIM Cafe. You are our first interview in English, so it's going to be breaking the ice on this language. I hope you enjoy and you can have some fun with us. This is all about having fun. Okay, we're not looking for money on the BIM Cafe, so no worries.
I'm still looking for money in all of this
I know,
beam
I
thing.
know.
Okay, so I really try to find out where is the ROI and where I can find the money. That's really my main goal in the next this season to find the ROI.
I've seen a couple of episodes you talking about it and asking questions about it.
Yes, where is the money? I just want to have just to see them. Not for me, but for our partners and the clients. So.
Well, no more overdue. Let's go. Let's go with the interview. Same question as we asked to our other guest. We bring you here to explain your perspective about BIM and to see what it's been for you and how you understand BIM, how it can be a good asset for the AC sector and the industry. But before going for that, let's make a small presentation about yourself. We talk about your company, CYPE, and many of the projects you work on. And your baby, which is CYPE Architecture. And then after that, we can talk a bit more open discussion about BIM, what is the money, what is not the money, and, and so on. So let's say you can help me to convince Peter because I've been dealing with him for over a year and I still don't have it on my side. So I hope you can help me with that.
I hope so. I hope so.
One day, we will find it.
So Ane, do you want to introduce yourself or introduce yourself with that? So architect, right?
Yeah. Maybe I introduce myself. My name is Ane. I'm from Spain. We are here in CYPE. We are in Alicante, in the southeast of Spain. I'm an architect, but I actually work in a software development company, something that I never thought about, no, when I was becoming an architect, but it's really interesting. And I don't know, I studied in Madrid, and I have the chance also of studying in Chicago and a little bit in Thailand, in Bangkok.
Wow.
And for me, as an architect, I do think related with software, I do think like we really, as an architect, have the chance of being in touch with a lot of programs, not only for 3D modeling, but from, for example, the part of design, Illustrator, to Excel, to bill of quantities programs. And at least for me, the perspective that I have is that as a career, we are one of the persons that are more involved or have the necessity of touching different types of software, no, from rendering to Excel, etc. And and for me that was really important right now for the work where I work, but I think that is also important for the perspective that as an architect can give to the rest of the construction industry.
Yeah, of course.
Very good. No, I think it's very impressive. I think your career path, and Enrique was talking about you for a long time right now, and just it's very impressive. And I really like this part of being part of the computer software or just the software company and the architect one, because that's really what's open up your horizons, and you are able just to show the IT guys the different
Yeah.
world. Right.
The other side.
He's an IT guy. He's an IT
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, he told me.
You
Yeah,
know,
I'm able to.
I did everything, guys. So just I just whatever you ask me, I did it already. So I'm sorry for
I
that.
am really lucky right now to be like in the other side, not just as a user, but as a developer, no. And it's really, really interesting the other part. Yeah, the part that
Well,
is not seen.
And also the fact that you are not on the developer side, but by your formation and through your formation, you're being a user. You can understand the concept more, because usually the IT guys, they are not really considering the user for some of the features, and can bring you a nice different mindset for the process of developing the new tool. So it's very interesting what you're doing, Ane. So just don't say that you are outside the engineering or the architecture. It's just different, doing a favor from other part of the of the field. But
Yeah, I'm in the middle right now.
well, so tell us you want something about CYPE, about your company. You present here with the slides. So as you said, you create software as a service. I know personally CYPE or CYPE since my studies. I studied in Spain. But how would you explain to Peter in few words what is CYPE?
So CYPE is a software company. We develop software for architecture, engineering, and construction. We've been developing software for more than 40 years, not myself, but let's say the old people in the company, and it's quite interesting because we have software from almost any field in the construction sector, going from structural analysis. We started as a structural company, what they used to do, it was to calculate the structure. So
That's question
then they
substance, yeah.
started to create this software like really long time ago to help themselves to calculate these structures. And then they saw that the software was good enough and start to sell it, no? But then they moved to MIP, they moved to all the part of documentation. And for me right now, one of the things that is more interesting about CYPE and is different from other existing software companies is that we are really focused on the documentation of projects, meaning that, okay, I will calculate my structure, but not only I will be able to calculate the structure, but I will have all the documentation for the Spanish code to be sent to the public administration, no? And that's for me one of the strongest points of our company, and which differentiates our company from other companies, no? That we are really focused in code compliance for different countries. And actually, personally, I don't see that other big companies are trying to do this, and I really think that there is the money, and there's money there.
She said the word money, Pietro. She said the word money.
No, I hear you. This is okay, but this is the money for CYPE. But if I am just the engineer, and I am architect, sitting somewhere in France or in Germany, who just designing it. So what you're telling me that I will just, thanks to or your company, I will have all of the when I will just calculate this, all of the structures. I will have the structure analysis done for the building. Then I have also just all of the documentation which will be sent to my German authority, the construction authority.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. The idea here is to save time, no? At the end, one of the biggest part of the architects and engineer work is code compliance, no? You spend a lot of time. You can be like 2, 3, 4 months just doing all this documentation, no? To have the final check, and that's our expertise, actually.
Okay.
It's not fun work. It's not fun work. I need to say.
No, no.
We're working some nice project.
Just
Some
trying
big project.
to reduce the boring work of the architects, no? That is not the part of the design, but the part of
Necessary for
documentation, no?
construction.
Exactly.
Okay, so no, I hear about the compliance, and I think you're right. There is a non-value added task which you can remove it from the people and make it sure that it's automated. So the compliance part is sure. So how did BIM place it? Can I ask this question already, or just this is too?
Yeah. It was about to come with the next presentation of the slide, but of course.
I'm just, everybody talks about the BIM, and I remember, I know, Ane, that you said that there's people just like 40 years ago. Thank you for this very nice thing. But I remember that we were just, when we were developing the software, everything makes sense. For BIM, it's still so fragmented. It's so many different things, and I really still cannot see the value coming out of it. So where you put the BIM into all of this process right now?
Well, for me personally, and for our company, I do think that BIM, what is bringing right now is the possibility and it's repeated time after time, no? But it's true, like the possibility of collaboration using digital tools. First of all, what BIM is bringing is the idea that the construction work needs to use digital tools. Okay, maybe it's not something that so many people say, but even though we or the past generation are really used to use, for example, AutoCAD, that is a 2D drawing software. For example, my generation, what we saw is, okay, we can use AutoCAD, but we can use 3D tools, and then we can use render tools, and then I can use this 3D to create a bill of quantities, etc. And I really think what BIM brings is this idea that there is a lot of digital tools available, and we are capable or being capable of collaborating between these different digital tools. And when I mean different digital tools, also I mean different software companies, meaning that, for example, till the arriving of BIM, even though Autodesk keeps being the biggest developer right now, we've seen now that a lot of software developers, not only CYPE, but the smaller software developers have come to the play, to take part and to add value to all the construction sector. And at least also for our perspective of software developing, BIM opens us the opportunity of collaboration between software companies also. Something that was like really close back then, and everybody was using AutoCAD, and that's all. It was a monopoly, let's say.
So if I understood well, what you're saying is just that when you said the construction need to use the digital tools, you do not only think about the tools itself, but you also think about the interoperability. This is the fancy word, okay? Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I keep thinking about that. Yeah. Open formats. We discuss about this sometimes.
Right.
It's necessary to have them.
So this is open to the interoperability between the different applications. At the end, will just help the architect and help the construction, will make it more efficient. So maybe there is some money there for me, for our clients, okay? Because if you will try to think about it, it's interoperability. So just changes information within the system. It will reduce the number of errors. If we will reduce the number of errors, then you just don't need to do rework. So that's the pure benefits coming out of it. So there is some money there for sure. Okay, I'm getting slowly there. So maybe one day I will just be fully.
Today is the day that we convince you.
So one of the main reasons we invite Ane here, and that links with the software development of BIM, is the presentation of this software I just showed with the slide before, CYPE Architecture. So why CYPE Architecture in English? What can you tell us a bit about this? How you connect all this software development with BIM on the first stage of BIM, which is the design, right? The planning and the design. So if you want to tell us a bit about CYPE Architecture and
what I was telling before is that we've been developing software for 40 years now, and we have software for a lot of fields, but we have been never focused, let's say, on the first step, no?
Exactly.
That it will be like the architectural design itself, no? We will bring in information from AutoCAD, we will bring in information from Revit, from Archicad, but we were not doing like this first step that at the end for us makes sense also. If we do have so much software, why not to do this first part that actually we keep saying in CYPE that could be the easiest one, no? It's so much difficult to calculate the structures under 100 codes than actually creating a BIM software for design. So 2 years ago, we decided to create this CYPE Architecture. A lot of our clients were asking us why you are not doing this part. And we decided to create CYPE Architecture with mainly two ideas. The first idea was to give a free entrance to BIM to our clients and to potential new clients. But the first idea was to convince our clients also, no, that jumping to BIM was a good idea, no, that we were able to provide new tools that will help in their workflows, in their day-to-day. And the second idea that for me personally, it was really important. What I had the chance, as I said at the beginning, I had the chance to use a lot of software tools. For example, I started using AutoCAD, then I moved to SketchUp, Rhino, SolidWorks, a lot of 3D software, then rendering tools as Uberray, etc. And when I had to move, when this BIM thing came to the main stage, I was just finishing my career, and I couldn't believe that I had to learn a new software again. No, I couldn't believe it. And why I say that? Because this I say that there's two types of 3D softwares. No, the traditional software that is composed as a software that has no database. No, it's composed by surfaces, by edges, etc. And then the
Purely visual.
that just gives you the visual, no? And then we jump it to the BIM software that has behind this idea of having databases, having data within this geometry, no? And for me, what I saw when I was trying to learn Revit, it was that it was quite complicated for me, even though I was really used to other modeling tools, no, in 2D. And the second idea for CYPE Architecture was to create a tool that maybe is a little bit simpler than other BIM tools are Revit, Archicad, or Allplan, but it's really easy to learn. In this sense, for me, SketchUp has been always a reference because it was a tool that almost any architect has learned during its career, architect or engineers. And the good thing about this tool was you could not do 100% of the things, but you could do 95% of the things in a really simple way, no? And this idea for me was important. I bring it also to CYPE Architecture, and also this idea that I'm telling you that for me, if you use CYPE Architecture and you were using traditional 3D tools, you will be capable of using CYPE Architecture, no? Because the program is thought with these two sides, no? I can first do a sketch with traditional 3D tools, no? Extrude, plane, square, etc. And then I can transform this traditional surface to a wall or to a slab, no? And give a database to it. Also, I think in CYPE is that we do think that I say no, this program maybe it will be a little bit simpler than other programs, but for us that was really important also because we truly believe that when you are building a project, you go step by step. You don't put all the information at the beginning. No?
Of course, to get closer also, to get closer to the people on easier stages on the beginning, you need to
so,
with an easy...
Exactly. So at the beginning, I do a design. Maybe I say, okay, this is a wall, but I still don't know which insulation I'm using. Yeah, I'm just using a texture because I have to give an impression to my clients. When I have the project approved, no, is when I will jump to this part of the construction systems that I'm using. No, for that we have another software, a small software that is used only for applying the construction systems or this knowledge to the walls. No, in the next step you will have the structures and give properties to these columns, the type of columns,
MIPs and so on.
Yeah. So that's a thought for us, no, that we should go step by step, and yeah, that's more or less. I have talked a lot.
Very good. I still don't have the money there for this one, but that's okay. Just to summarize it, so just you said it. This was I like the idea because you said this is the free entrance to the BIM for your clients. I like the conceptual saying you have existing client and you try just to get them closer and try just to without not doing that theoretical presentation about how life is built, but you're really showing them how it works. And also the second part, I think this is really which I like it, is just easy to learn. So you see, this is nothing about the engineering, it's just more about the two decision part, getting your customer converted into the modeling plus information, and also easy to learn. And I like the part which you were saying about the complexity. You start with something which is pretty vast, basic, and then when you advance with the projects, you start to putting some more meat into it. You're putting more walls, in fact, not meat, but you put more walls into
sandwich panels.
Yeah, no, but that's really nice, because it really shows this is the part of the agility model, what all of the industry right now is talking about it. Do not start with the big stuff, start for the small chunk, and just literally go cycle by cycle, try just to go with the more information. Pretty clear. Still don't have the money there, but that's okay. I got that one. That's okay.
One thing that I like also from this approach is that BIM by itself is only 3 letters, but it's very complex, and people get afraid of this. Not only with 3 letters, people, oh my God, this is very strange. I don't understand BIM fully. People get so much reticence about that, and it's very expensive as well, the full implementation. So people we know about BIM or software that BIM, they need to give it very easy. Well, like we are feeding a baby. You need to chew it and give it super easy to swallow, like the parts that you really understand and they're gonna make you a good effect on you. Otherwise, people won't adopt it. Otherwise, people will get close to it. So if they start to make a design with a software that is hard to use, you don't understand, there is so many numbers, there is so many restrictions, it's gonna be impossible for you to keep learning about that. Whereas if you go to a software design, like it can be CYPE Architecture, and you are building something like playing a video game or something like that, it will be even fun to learn about BIM, right?
I don't want the architects play the video games when they're preparing the buildings, okay? Just because it can make it destructive, but that's okay. So Enrique, you said very interesting things. I think we need to put this trademark on this one. The BIM, it's only 3 letters and it's very complex. That's just Ane, or this is you who said this?
I said it. I take the credit for this one.
This is revolutionary part of our journey. BIM only 3 letters, but very complex.
Very complex. So there's one last thing that Peter would like too much, I think. So this CYPE Architecture is free software, isn't it, Ane? Is free, available to download, or how do you provide in this?
We do have a platform. It's called BIM Server Center, where we share all the projects. It's a platform where you store the projects. All of our software is connected to this platform, and all of our software shares information through the platform. And you can download there not only CYPE Architecture, that is free software, but software you see there from energy simulation to structural calculation to project management, fire protections, plumbing, electrical installations. I really do believe, Pierre, that the money and what we have been offering to our clients for 40 years is where the money is, and BIM doesn't change. BIM doesn't change this, but it makes it easy for them to access to all these type of tools, no?
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think
sorry, but for me, is this idea that BIM itself is gonna become something. I do agree completely with you. No, BIM itself is just a methodology for me, or a way of working. No, and at the end, what is going to help our clients is the same that we were been doing. No, at least for CYPE in our side. No, that is helping them with co-compliance in a really easy way, helping them with energy efficiency certification officially again, no, giving them this all this documentation that, at least for architects and engineers, when we do have to work, it takes us most of the time when we are developing a project, no? And where I see BIM is helping all these workflows, as I say at the beginning, no? Of sharing information. And
from the beginning of the design phase until the delivery of the tender of the project, which is also very important. BIM is putting everything under the same umbrella. Okay, we're going to work from this methodology. As I said before, CYPE didn't have the software ready to do the design. CYPE Architecture arrived, so you are following the whole process with BIM methodology. Sorry, Peter.
Yeah, Enrique and Ane, I really just hear what you guys saying. It's great, but my expectation from BIM are much bigger. Okay, and sorry for just trying just to be again talking about this, but when you think about all of different industries, one of the key elements for all of different industries is a customer, right? And on the construction part, it's very difficult to find the who is really the final customer. Is a user of the object? It will be the installer, an architect, or the people who will maintain the building, etc. Who is really the customer? And when I'm thinking back about BIM, what BIM can bring to me, and what I'm expecting, in fact, and where I can have a money there, is when I will have this closed loop from the feedback from the customer. So just let me just develop for 2 seconds my thoughts. So you have the building, and you have just you start to create a design, you start to putting all of the objects, etc., and you realize that and again, I will say something which I have no idea what I'm talking about. So, for example, the thermal isolation or something is just too small for some of the particular building or for a particular room. And then it goes back into the feedback loop will go back to the construction company, who will just prepare the material, who will talk to the R&D department saying, hey, if you will just think differently about the product which we today doing, they will be able to make it different. They will be able to make better. So it will be the whole feedback loop going back to R&D, the innovation. They can create a better product which will meet the adventures or the advanced design of the architects or engineers. Maybe
for example, this is something really interesting that you say. Another way of working that we have right now is we are working with manufacturers directly. So our idea is, again, BIM will become with the manufacturers when the manufacturers are inside all these chains that you are talking about. For us, the final goal will be, for example, to have these 3D models. And we do have actually an open BIM called Open BIM Solera and Palau, that is a manufacturer for HVAC conducts in English, yeah.
Ventilation.
For ventilation conduits.
Ventilation ladders.
Pipes? No, that's the
not pipes. Ventilation
Pipes family.
conduits. Yeah, pipes family. So basically, what we do is we take this software, you design your conduits of the project, and then the software is capable of sending instructions to CNC machines of Soleri Palau.
Yeah, but I'm just one step more, I'm one step more, because you're just in the building and you just right now you can see that they have only the standard pipes, which is just 2 millimeters too thick, and you don't need this because it's just going to be thinner based on the characteristics of the building. But this manufacturer does not have it, right? He has only these things what he's producing. So my thinking is, you can just look also on the development of the product, go back to the manufacturer, because Ane, what you were saying is a typical process what you have for all of the manufacturing across the world except construction. Okay, so that's normal. So I'm thinking they can just also redesign the products on the fly through the R&D, go through the certification, because it requires certification, require the materials, blah blah, all of these things. And if the same cycle, they can just get back to you with the more efficient energetically the equipment, with the less CO2 emissions, etc., etc., etc. So I'm even a step further. I'm sorry, it excites me. I'm still looking for a money.
It's really exciting what you say. I think you are going a step further, because first of all will be to have all these manufacturers inside the software, have their catalogs, like architects and engineers being capable of, okay, saying, I need this pipe, and this pipe exists, no?
Otherwise,
and I can ask for this pipe. Sorry, Enrique.
Yeah, I said otherwise you need to build it. Of course, this is
yeah. Next step maybe will be what Pierre says. I don't think BIM is in that step yet, and I don't think it will be like closer to that step right now. No, our idea again here also is to include these manufacturers. We have almost 20 or 25 manufacturers, most of them from HVAC systems. This type of manufacturer is really interested in demonstrating that their equipment is more, for example, energy efficient than other equipments, And to address this problem, for example, BIM and simulation is a really interesting part also.
Yeah, no. Again, I don't think so that I'm going too fast, really, guys, because when you look at this, and when you look at the publishing industry, and I know this is the size of the building is not the size of the book. I really understood this. But I think that the whole concept, right now, when you order the book, and when it's just it's printed on demand, right? Depends on the way it's not published anymore of course, if you're the big author and you publish 100,000 books a day, that's they publishing, they print it up front. But for the small part, all of the people publishing the book, it's print on demand, right? So a request comes in and they're saying you want to have the cover book, which is the thin or thick or whatever, and it's printed when you press the button, when you're saying I'm buying it. And by the way, it's still 24 hours later in your desk or in your house, right? So I try to think about this way of really speeding up the whole process of construction. And I know this is not a day, but will be like a 2 weeks. But if you have the airport and you have like a 3 years of building, and if you will still reduce it by half, it will be 1.5 years instead of 3 years, right?
But
anyway,
the potential is very big.
Potential is enormous.
We are talking about an industry which has one of the lowest gain margin, ROIs, and one of the longest periods of execution. So, and it's still going, right? It's still going. It hasn't collapsed yet. So there should be a reason. The potential is very high. One thing that you said also, Peter, about comparing about the book, I can tell that it's interesting for manufacturers to have this digital catalog that I said before, because it's where the architects and the engineers will go. If you want to build something, we said before, this BIM 3 letters, very complex, but you give the small pieces, you give it easy. If the manufacturer start to give the products on BIM, simple structure with the information there, the architect or the engineer or the designer download and implement to the project. Okay, well, 3 clicks and I have this product there. If I like it, I just need to go and order. So it takes way more time that you design your PI, and then I'm gonna compare on the marker if my design fits more to this or that manufacturer. So this is a step that is to come from all the different points. Now we're talking about manufacturers, for example, but being able to provide all your products in a digital way, we're talking about BIM on 3D designs, is a huge advantage because you are already halfway ahead of the process of trying to contact this person, see if he likes. If it's not, this person download the object. If he likes, it's going to stay there. He will potentially purchase it. So you are already generating that interest, but you need to offer them. You need to offer those products.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes fully sense. But just Ane, this is something what we saw in some of our manufacturers. This is what you for sure you see with this couple of companies which you have, but with some of the clients which we are working, we talked to some of the CEOs of the businesses, and they said, we are done with BIM, we implement it, we are good, we have the models. And we look at the models, and the models was from 2018. That was not renewed to the whole cycle, which really for us was really, the message was, these guys are just published the model and they forgot about the whole BIM, because the whole structure, when you modify there is a different production load coming from the different source material, the resources, etc. It need to change. It need to, it will need to go with the life cycle of the product. So, I hope this thing's whole industry will change, because it's not only one.
That's why we're here.
For me, here it's really, really important that public administrations come to the play, because at the end, what it can be done is that you are developing a BIM model that you want to maintain, somehow during the life cycle of the building, to being capable of refurbishment, of addressing problems in the building, etc. But at the end, public administrations, most of them, not 100%, what they want is a plan, a 2D plan, a 2D section, and a lot of documentation in PDF, And for us, in this sense, if the public administration thought about being as a repository of information of existing buildings, that will add, thinking about other different things that is not manufacturers in this case, that for sure will add value. We've seen some cases, for example, in the city of Barcelona, where they have mapped or they are starting to map from, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, they started to map all the energy certifications of the building so they can see which areas have or need public policies, different public policies, etc. I think that BIM also could add value for public administrations, and not only for no, let's say the architect that is in his studio, but for all of us as a whole, no?
Working on
More
the
or less
whole.
what is being done, no? Or is
Yeah,
right now with all the idea of the public transportation, no? How to track these public transportations, where are the people hopping on of the buses and where they are not, no? And how to address all, no, how to, no, it's not the word addressing, it's more like how to at least be aware of what is going on, no? Or having data enough to see where is going on.
You collect the data, and with BIM, with everything in a research project, you collect the data. That data needs to be useful. And we're talking about this in other webinars as well. But the BIM is meant to come here from the design phase until demolition. So we imagine the life cycle of the product or the project. And this data, you need to keep feeding the BIM model. This is what Piotr said before. I did a BIM model 2018. I forget about BIM, don't even mention it. I already invested in this. No, your model needs to evolve with you. If your products evolve, your BIM model evolves. So you input new data, you update the data, and that data is going to give you some feedback by like, hey, since you changed these parameters, the usage has been increased, the efficiency levels of energy, it has decreased, and so on. So you can monitor this digital twin, they call it in English, of that version of the product or project. So give me data, use the data, and keep it until the end, right? You just forget about it as a one-time investment, so for example.
Yeah, Anna, just one of the points which you mentioned about the public administration, I think we have a completely two different vision, which is great, but I think it came with the age. I think what you're saying about the public administration, I think it makes sense, and especially the Europe has a really big role to play here. But I call this method as a stick method, when you have the carrot and the stick, right? So just it's more like a stick saying just you need to do this because otherwise you cannot build. You need to do this because you need to do this because you will not, you need to pay the penalties. And usually this kind of methods, it never works with my son, for example, but it usually should be something which is like, I will do this because I see the benefits. We're laughing here that I'm looking for money, but I think the idea for me is really how I can find the benefits when everybody will run after BIM and saying this is what I want to do, and I hear you about that. There is a lot of the committees, there are a lot of standardization bodies who try just to put this is the standard and you need to use it and this is fine. But when you go to this, when you look at the ISO certification, for example, I saw so many companies who do the ISO certification just only to have a stamp, but usually at the end they don't using the processes, right? So I hear what you're saying, but
I never talk about the ISO certification, and CYPE, you will not hear anyone from CYPE talking about the ISO certification, for example. Again, sorry but it's a really interesting conversation because we don't agree.
Yes.
So again, for example, we do have this program. We have a beta version that we've been working with Madrid Town Hall, and the idea is once you have this BIM model, the architect sends the BIM model to the public administration, and you have this program. The public administration has this program that is capable of checking the model, no, for urbanism rules, no? For example, in Spain, most of the town halls right now in Madrid, you could be waiting 18 months to obtain a stamp for the public administration, no? And that's money. If you have to wait 18 months to start your project, that's money. And for example, I see BIM models helping in this process, because this process right now is completely manual and done by technicians manually, like reading each of the parts of the building manually and seeing if they complies with the urbanist rules of each city. This is one idea. again, I don't see, for example, in the sense that you talk about using standardized formats, another thing that we see is that the industry has a lot of standardized formats. We cannot think that, for example, regarding BIM IFC is the only standardized format that can be used. No? And in this sense, us as a software company are really open to use other standardized formats coming from the software industry itself. No, it could be GLTF, it could be JSON, it could be FBX. No, and in this sense, we really do think, we do think as you in that sense. It cannot be saying, no, it has to be done. You only need an IFC model and that's all. No, well, there's a lot of ways of sending information right now in the software industry. For example, we started doing only IFC, and then we started thinking, okay, why don't using GLTF also to exchange like final images of the 3D models, like a fixed image in a fixed moment for the 3D models, that is a standard well known in the industry, and you can open with any Windows. Windows has a program, for example, that opens GLTF and other standardized formats for 3D modeling. In this sense, I think we are more open, and we don't believe that the way is imposing, but we see advantages in using the 3D models that we are creating.
I like, so just in fact we agreed on because I think when you said about the checking the design in the Mary of in the town hall of Madrid for urbanism rules, I love it. I think that's really what you have, the productivity, right? So, but I don't really think this is the stick. This is more the carrot, saying just instead of waiting 18 months for manual checking, you will get it immediately. You can do even yourself, right? Submit your BIM files and you will get it red or green, right? It's very simple, right?
What we do actually is we pre-check, we do the architect to pre-check these files and send it, but he already knows what is wrong and what is right. So
just waiting for the official confirmation.
Wrong, you correct it, and then you just send the file that will be correct. Of course, the public administration always is going to take the time to view these things, because it's their work somehow. But it's not the same 18 months that, I don't know, 2 days, just to give an overview of the building.
I agree. I think this is what I like it is, and what I was saying more is like just more what I was trying just to tell you is just like, putting this stick, saying this is, and then what you addressed it as well, saying this is only one standard which we will use, and this is only these things what we will be doing, and that's only one way how we're going to move forward, because that's will really close the whole evolution of everything, and it will we'll be just going only to the one direction, which I don't like it. The world is open, and we need just to make sure that we are just going around and just check it. So I think we finally agreed. I don't think so.
More or less.
I was thinking. I think you guys are not really on different panels. You can somehow agree, but I do support the idea of Ane, to boost BIM in terms of use. Public administrations need to help. Like you cannot be asking more for this size of PDF. Like I'm talking about paper by paper, mountains of papers out of terms and conditions and 2D plus and so on. You can also have all in a BIM model, and there is many files we saw before. So it can really speed up the process if you ask for BIM, because in many places they do BIM because they require only. They don't believe on this. Okay, I pay you this much, do my BIM model, and don't even bother me more because I need to apply for this tender and I cannot do it with BIM. But this is how the standardization of the implementation of the process comes. So if you are not, these people or these industries are not educated enough to do it by themselves, the laws or the help from the government or other organization needs to make that happen somehow. Of course, at the beginning, when you're being imposed a new way of working and so different, so complex, you're going to be refusing it. But but the first say like, no, I don't want to do this, or I want to try to put as many block rows as I can, and this is what is happening now. But it's breaking the ice with new generations, as three of us, yeah, we include them all together as we're young entrepreneurs, yeah.
I feel young still. Thank you.
We want to change this and be able to make BIM as not a requirement, as a better way of working. It's a better way of working because there's so many benefits. There's so many benefits and ways of doing BIM.
No, I think I hear you. It's just I think we agreed. We need to dig into the ISO certification for your company, because this is what I like it. But that's okay. This is for another webinar with some of the IT folks and the way how they handle the security. But that's the part of the different webinar they said.
I don't know if that can be in a webinar.
No one will watch it. I tell you already, guys. I won't be watching that webinar about ISO and standards.
Okay, no, it's pretty good, to be honest. If you look at some of this, it's pretty it's a lot of good horror stories. So I think that we will just get the top of the one number of the people who will watch it. So okay.
So just to wrap up a bit and just finishing the interview, we're getting close to the hour. And so anyone of the CYPE solution that Ane mentioned, they are available on the website and also under the BIM Service Center if anyone wants to give it a try and use it, connect a bit with BIM, opening to all the format we said. And just to have a different the last stage of the conversation, I want to ask you something, and that we agree also, and you mentioned before, it's interesting, and it's the possibility we discussed about using BIM for some public tenders. But what about R&D projects? You mentioned that there is many European context or there is also possibilities to apply for R&D project with BIM. So apart from BIM building, what else can do BIM for this research and development?
Right now, we are participating in 7 European projects, and right now there's basically two main subjects. One will be energy efficiency and how BIM will actually help to improve energy efficiency of the buildings, comparing different solutions, being capable. For example, we are in the SATO project that we are actually downloading data from sensors, and assessing this data live. There's this one path that is really, really interesting for me. And I do think that BIM makes all the sense in that path. And the second path is this other one that I was talking about, public administration, or what they call digital building logbook. That is also this word, like interoperability, a word that right now is coming a lot in the main stage of the European projects, and is again this idea of how this information can be used in long terms, not only for the architects, but for the European Union, for the public administration itself, to create policies to improve cities and to improve buildings and the way of that buildings are working. I will say these are the two main subjects right now. We are working in the two. We will start a project right now in October about the building digital logbook. There's a lot of standardization bodies there, but there's also a lot of software companies. It's really interesting, because it gives us the chance also of this idea of sharing information between software companies and showing that not everything has to be done with the same software, and then the energy efficiency projects that for me are really, really interesting. We are renovating also buildings, not only in the BIM part, because they are together with the demonstration cases, where you demonstrate that, okay, we are renovating this building, we are putting sensors before and after, and we are assessing this building using BIM and trying to demonstrate that BIM and energy efficiency will help to reduce energy consumption of buildings, which is one of the main issues that Europe has now.
Yeah, no, I think that this is good. I don't like one thing. There is a many standardization bodies, which is usually slowing down everything completely. But that's I'm if we will be able just to go quicker over them, I think it will be good. So,
in my opinion, also that's why the construction industry is a bit retarded and delayed. No? There's so many standards and things needs to comply, but at the end, the people on the sites, they do whatever they make them finish the work or the shift.
Actually, there is two the standardization bodies, as a Building Smart, of course, and then Open Geospatial Consortium is the second standardization body, and he is more focused on how we build the code itself to be capable of being used, no, I guess, in the future.
Yeah, we know them very well, in fact. So that's good standardization. We know them very well, and I think this is something which, you know, I hear all of these things which we are saying in terms of the standards, and I really see this as that it should happen, right? My question is only, you know, where is the barrier? Which height you need to put your limits in terms of the standards, right? If this is about the security, I'm fully in. If there is about the energy efficiency, I'm in. But there are some of the standards which are just lobbied by the companies just to make sure that they can win the bigger market. They can just get the market. This is we need to avoid, right? And again, we are very company agnostic. We do not really want to talk about the products, etc., etc. But this is what we can see. You know, all of these lobbies which are coming and saying, you know, this part of the solar panels are better because of, you know, A, B, C, D, right? So that's I'm afraid.
No. I do think that there we do to agree, no, and that's a thing in CYPE now that we see. Okay, one thing is that we truly believe that the standard cannot be RVT from Revit, no, that's the main idea.
Otherwise, they got the money. Yeah, we cannot do.
Yeah, so the only ones getting the money are them, no. But in the other sense, okay, we again think that if the information has to be available always, it has to be in some type of a standard that you can open now and 30 years from now, no? But again, with this idea of there's not only one standard that is valid, no? It could be, and you can see in 3D modeling tools as SolidWorks or as Revit that they open like maybe 15 different types of files, no? And for me, that part is good. It's not bad because it allows me to exchange information between programs, no? That was the idea.
So Ane, I think that was really great. So just you show us the company, you show the, you know, how the company go, you know, and you said this is like 40 years ago, which really just makes me smile. So this is great. So you start companies with the structure analysis, going through the different parts of the evolution, which is fantastic example how this whole BIM supposed to really work in the real future, in the near future, because that's something which I really see this coming in. You show also the way how you just try to develop the open platform for BIM, showing that's giving the free entrance to BIM, and also just the application which you're building. It's easy to learn and easy to adopt. So I think it's really something which I'm really just advocating as well, because if we make it too difficult, it will be horrible and nobody will use it.
And at the end, easy to swallow for the people, otherwise they will run away.
Exactly. And at the end, we were just finding about the stuff which you finally agreed. So that I'm not really sure how these things went through, but we agreed that that's the good stuff. So I think that was really, really positive. So thanks for that.
Well, any other thoughts, Ane? We're really happy to have you here, be our first guest or interview, and also especially happy to see women on the construction sector, because there's so many big old men's dinosaurs, if I can say. They're very hard. They're very hard to fight against.
No. Thank you very much for inviting me. It was really interesting also to share thoughts. Those thoughts are things that are coming in our work day to day. No, we are discussing day to day where we are going. No, exactly. And thank you very much for having me here.
No, it's a great pleasure. Just so I hope we will see each other on the BIM Worlds together, because I think we will be there. So just hope we will see each other there, and I hope we will see each other also in the real life. So,
Exactly. Well, Ane, thank you so much for being here at the BIM Cafe. Peter, thanks to you too. Guys, every Friday at 10 a.m. live on LinkedIn, the interview released right after. So thank you much for watching and have a good Friday, everyone.
yeah, and I just need to find the money still, but that's okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure to having you today.